Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. This is Steph. This is an intro.
We don't know how to do intros.
Nope. And here's my co-host.
I'm Scott. I say dumb stuff.
And I hope you enjoy this wonderful show. My name's a tongue twister and a half anyways, so it just works out.
Yours
that
is
way.
wild.
So I know I'm like, as soon as I hit record, it's like my mind goes blank. Like
Chaos.
I can't carry like a normal conversation for this kind of thing.
As soon as the little red comes up in the corner,
Yeah,
it's
it,
like
like,
everything
throws
just
me
goes
off. It's like I have two children that like keep me busy all day long, and like I can't focus on like this. This should be the easiest thing in our lives is talking about our fun hobbies.
It's true.
But I did want to say welcome. And thank you for being part of our little podcast video series. I'm really excited to have you on here. I know it's been like 8 months since I asked you originally before we actually got this up and running. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I actually forgot about it and I was like, oh, okay, nice. All right.
Yeah.
And then I had to go look it up and I was like, okay, what is a pod? Because I've listened to podcasts before, but truth be told, not really to do with toy photography. Most of the podcasts that I would look at, I'm actually an anesthetist by profession, so I do anesthetics and intensive care. So a lot of the podcasts that I would look at more medically based, So
That's funny. This is very different than that. We are not medical professionals.
No.
Yeah. So. And I didn't realize it was actually a video, so I was like, "Oh no, I have to look like a human." No.
Yeah,
I don't
brushing
look
your
like a
hair
human.
and like actually like trying like when you're a mom is kind of hard sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Trini photographer is that I'm going to say that like 4 times fast.
Photographer.
Photographer. Okay, which is really amazing name. But I wanted to kind of explain it how you got to that point. So.
Okay, so I always liked toy photography, and so when I was actually trying to come up with a handle, I actually got help from one of my friends, Jagdish, and there's a guy that I know who is actually a photographer also, and he was like, "What about photographer?" And I was like, that's a very interesting play on the word, and he was like, yeah. So then I just kind of added on the Trini because I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. And we are called Trinidadians. So short form for that, Trini. So Trini photographer. So that's kind of how the name came about.
It's an awesome one. It's a
good one. I like this handle a lot.
Thanks. It's a bit of a mouthful to try to even get out.
Stalagmite Thriller is not exactly like the easiest thing that like rolls out of your mouth either. So it
requires effort.
Yeah, it requires me thinking because it used to be my old handle was Stalactite Killer, which is like completely the opposite. Yes, Scott. Yeah.
You just need to keep going with these kind of geological terms and just stick them into you. I think it'd be great. So.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And then have you always like been a toy collector or how did toy photography kind of come about?
So I started, I would say my first honest attempt at toy photography was like back in 2014. I always liked photography and I always liked like action figures, but truth be told, I never really owned much. So I think the first figure I had was a Stitch, one of these Stitch from Disney. I don't even know where I got it. But I had that and I was just kind of playing around and I took like a little phone shot with it. And I posted it on my Facebook, like my personal Facebook, and my friends were like, "Oh, that's kind of funny." So before I only started this page, I think 2018. So that was 2 years ago, and it really started just because I had my son, and I was on maternity leave, just trapped at home, and I was just like, okay, I need to keep my brain active and entertain myself, like on the off times when try to stay human as a mom. I think you would understand that stuff.
Yes, I
do. So literally it was just like something fun to do just to kind of get out of my head, and I just decided to start a page and just see where it goes. But a lot of toy photography for me actually started because I had a camera, I like taking pictures, and I was just trapped inside of a house. Like 2014, I was studying for exams, my postgrad exams. So I was just home. I couldn't go anywhere to take shots of beaches and seas, and I was just home. So I was like, all right, what could I take pictures of?
Yeah. So you did do photography before the toy. When did you start doing photography? Because you said the toys showed up around 2014, but when did you start actually being interested in like just photography, just pulling out a real camera and taking some pictures?
I would say about 2 years before that.
Okay.
And but because I was in a postgrad program in medicine, it was impossible. And I just had the camera and I bought it. And I always liked taking, phone pictures and, snapping shots, editing and all these things. And it's only really when I got the camera, I was like, all right, let's do this. And then I had exams. So I just get trapped in my house. So it's a sad life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's really funny to have like this fun hobby that's exciting. You have a camera, you have your kids running around, you have toys, and then you're like, I still got to study and do this professional thing because like I'm in the world of banking. Scott goes and like works in a warehouse. Like it's all this other stuff that happens that is not as cool as having us take pictures of action figures and post them online and share them. It's just like, it's so extraordinary that every profession has somebody who like is still into this.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that my friends think I'm normal. They don't, but that's
neither do mine. They never thought I was normal. Even before they realized I did this, they didn't think I was normal. So
that is very true. That is very true. But the good thing is it's fun and people actually find it very entertaining. And I actually think like as the years went on, more and more people knew about it. And you'd see posts on Facebook with people doing fun, toy photography. I think it was forgot his name, the HR Joe, I think, with the who had the hot toys that went around and went viral. So, my friends were like, oh, this actually is cool. And
yes.
It is. We're funny. Super cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm going to bring this up because I pulled up your first photo on your feed. You might have like archived some before this, but it's just like, I really like that it's Hulk with the pacifier because it's just like encompasses like parenting and like
you're becoming a mom and becoming a toy photographer kind of like simultaneously.
Literally. I think I was very happy with the fact that like that was my first, it's not my first toy photo, but it's actually first photo I posted on this this handle. So I like the photo, even though it's such a simple photo. I'll always love it because of where I was at when I took the picture, So yeah.
Yep.
And I think this one's not the most recent one, but I had to pull this up because I just realized that you actually have like firework stuff going on and everything in these like photos later on. And I have yet to try that. And I always think it's really cool when I see other like ladies doing it. Cause most of the time it's like, seems like it's a guy thing, but I'm like, oh my God.
Thing and it's good. I want more women to get involved with this. Cause it's such like a bro-y thing. Like I'm going to go in my backyard and blow stuff up. Like it's so ridiculous, but it looks so good.
I think that's why a lot of people assumed I was a guy initially. Like when I posted, they would be like, dude, really cool photo, bro. And it's like,
bro.
It's like, you know what? If you're using bro in a gender non-specific way, yeah, thanks.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. You're just like, well, I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
Did you use cardboard, like little just slabs of cardboard on the left there? Is that what that is?
Yes, literally.
I love stuff like that. Like I am the king of just garbage. Like I love it. And so whenever I see somebody utilizing just like a piece of something in the background, I think it is just so cool to not overthink it. Like I love dioramas, but I just don't necessarily have the patience for them. And so whenever I see people like really just finding junk and sticking it in photos, it's like, yeah, my people. Like
so I don't really have much dioramas because of where I'm from. We actually, the ship here is like impossible. It's extremely expensive to ship to Trinidad. So yeah, that's just 2 pieces of cardboard, some extra packaging, I think from an Amazon box or something.
Yeah.
I just kind of threw it in. And it's not really big fireworks I actually have. I actually have like we call them starlight here. I think what was the word for them? Little sparklers.
Oh, sparklers, yeah. It's like a little stick and you just light it and it kind of
Yeah.
I got
we call them starlight in Trinidad, but it's just a set of sparklers put together and just light up.
You say that, but I'm the one that sits like 20 feet away from the like California legal, like barely moving fireworks over here. Like I am so definitely afraid of like fire stuff. So I'm always impressed because I love the way it looks. And so if that's just a sparkler it still looks awesome. Like if you were able to like know that explosion was going to be enough in that background there too. So it's like really cool.
It's a lot of trial and error.
So you mentioned how hard it is to get like about the dioramas, getting stuff down there. How hard is it to get toys down there? Is that a challenge?
It is in a sense, but we have so to walk into like a regular toy store that you would, you could get toys, but the markup on them is ridiculous. Like I would actually pay twice the price of a figure. So but there are some people who bring figures down and I order them from Amazon, so we pay a lot in shipping, but you could get toys down here. It's just that I would actually pay more for toys than somebody in the States would or somebody in UK would. So that's why I don't have a huge collection.
The ones you have are like you pick your toys very specifically. I've noticed throughout your account, like and the fun of it is very, very apparent. So
I tend to buy people and figures that I know, and not necessarily what's the most popular. So
and you have a bunch of like mixed types. Like you have a lot of Lego photos. You have a lot of like the Legends photos. Like
you don't stick to a particular type of figure. You're very good at like varying. Like you change it up constantly, which I think is really, really cool. You're not stuck. Like a lot of people, like I'm myself included, get myself kind of caught up in one genre of figure. You just try anything. I love it.
Yeah, I tend to, sometimes I would just kind of pick up something and say, well, okay, all right, let me use this today. Or I would like, it depends, because sometimes I would take a shot depending on the figure. So that's why, if you notice, my style changes a lot. I don't necessarily shoot, I don't have a style as far as, I mean, Scott, you pointed out a style, but I didn't realize I had a style.
No, and that's the thing. I had to look for really specific things when I was kind of dissecting it, because you don't have like some of the other people we've talked to where their feed has evolved and changed, but it doesn't change as quickly as yours. You jump, you try new things constantly. And like I noticed, even when I made the comment about like your use of bokeh versus talking about like the plants, you'll have like periods of time on your feed where it's like very bokeh heavy, and then you have another section that's very like plant heavy, and then like you'll have another one where like the colors are very specific, but then all of a sudden the colors change and you do warmer tones randomly. Like you definitely don't have rules. You go outside of your comfort zone, which is fantastic. Like, and I'll tell you, that is part of the reason why doing this has been fun for me, is because I do have a very particular style and I tend to stick very much to that style. And so by doing this and taking some elements from other people's work, it kind of forces me to play around a little bit and take something I may not take otherwise. And looking through your feed was quite an adventure, because it's, you'll look through like 6 photos and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, is this even the same person? Like, wait, what just happened? And so you got to look and you got to really find the things that connect the dots from one phase to the next, which I thought was really fun with you. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad you enjoy it. A lot of the time, it depends on like how much time I have to shoot. So you notice a lot of my shots done in the night. Is very rare that I would actually have like day photos. Because that's kind of when I take my pictures. Like when my son asleep, I would be like, all right, let me get the camera and go outside. Yeah, go outside and try to take some shots. I do a lot of indoor shots just because of time, because I don't have the time necessarily to go out and shoot. But I think it really just depends on like the figure that I have and like what I want to portray, and also what mood I'm in sometimes.
I love this. I love it.
I think this is one of the first ones I saw on your account, and so that's why I had to bring it back up, because I was like, I remember this photo very like vividly. Like, I need to look more at this account and like kind of get into it, because this person knows how to have fun with their toys.
Well, this was one of the first photos that got me thinking about plants, because I started to realize that was a recurring theme throughout like your use of plants. I don't know, do you have a lot of house plants, or is it just something that you've kind of like they make a great scene. I was just curious, like, what made you gravitate towards those?
So this plant is actually like like where you have the centerpieces on a table.
Yeah.
I actually have, so I just kind of took it apart and I was like, okay, I could use this. I really just wanted the dinosaur just kind of coming out at you. So that's how I ended up, getting the plants and just kind of fluffing them up. I wish I could have gone downstairs and shown you what it is, but it's really just some small plants, some of the ones that just kind of bunched up and tried to do it. I like the element of the contrast and the bouquet, like really and truly. So I like to have things kind of out of focus in the background, and that dinosaur is actually one of my son's dinosaurs, really big, kind of ugly dinosaur. I decided I'll just use him, so
I love that. And I love the blue against the red is really cool. Like, the color here, it just pops. It's so intense. Your color, and this is something I mentioned too when I was talking about it, your color it was hard to think in black and white photographing like you, because you mix your colors a lot. Like, you mix your lighting colors, you'll mix red against blue as far as even just light goes, not the subject matter, but the tones coming in. Like, you'll have warm against cool light. Yeah. You'll do like red light against like goldish light. Like, you'll mash those together. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, Steph, why are we doing this in black and white? This is stressful. But it's color is so important in your photography. Like, it really is. So it was a bit, and when you said the thing today about how maybe you're going to try some black and white, I'm like, oh, all right, that's cool now. Hey, maybe we started something.
Yeah, I do like black and white, but I end up gravitating more because I just think toy photography, a lot of it I just like to see in color, because you don't get to play with colors as with normal people, like human beings, so I just like the fact that I could just just throw on a purple against a red and just make this ridiculous, contrasty, bright, scene. So I mean, I started playing with color, I would say, more when I got the Loom Cubes. Actually, I bought some gels. So, I just kind of mix and match and try to, make things vibrant and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love your contrast, because not a lot of people like that dark shadow kind of to the figures and stuff like that. It's like I love it. Like, it's one of my things, because I always notice that mine kind of like end up being darker than a lot of people's in my images, but I always like seeing people have the same kind of eye, because to me it makes everything else kind of the colors lift out more. But like that darker tone is just so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this one.
This one is actually a Christmas ornament. I think it's a Hallmark Christmas ornament.
So good.
That's just my Christmas tree lights in the background. Good. Clearly not evenly spaced Christmas tree lights, but Christmas tree lights nonetheless.
Well, what's so great about this is the simplicity of it, but at the same time, like, because it's an ornament, you don't have joints, you don't have like knee bend, you don't have all these weird accents like that kind of draw your attention away. It's just, it happens to be in a great pose. You took a very simple, great photograph of it, and it's like, here's Spider-Man, the end, like, straightforward and to the point, framed perfectly. Oh my gosh, yeah, I like this one so much. This was one of the ones that I thought about a lot when I was thinking about the idea of using bokeh, and I was like, oh yeah, that's so important. So
this is like what I call one of my cheat pictures. I just kind of go and snap a picture and be like, all right, that works. Not too much thought went into it, to be honest. But it was simple and it was fun, and I just easily got the shot that I wanted. That was what I liked with this.
And you're saying that you take photos like at night and everything like that when your son's asleep. How often do you think you take photos a week? Like, do you
So initially when I started, like, I'll kind of just take one picture every night. I'll be like, oh, I have a session tonight. Okay, let me rush and take a picture. But as I kind of went along, I was like, okay, I probably need to plan things better, so that so usually about 2 to 3 times a week, but sometimes I would sit down and be like, okay, I need to do a picture, but then I just don't have the inspiration. So I might just like snap one picture and then be like, it's not feeling right, so I'll just kind of forget it for that day and just try again another day. So I don't really plan my stuff out properly, I would say, but because of being a doctor and having like
Yeah.
being on call and life just
Yeah.
I try to keep it so that the toy photography is fun and is not pressure, and is
Mhm.
not something that I have to do. So yeah, I would say about 2 to 3 times a week I would try to take pictures. If I'm lucky and I get like 5 good pictures, I'll be like, sweet, I don't want to take
Yes.
any for the rest of the week.
Isn't that nice? Get a backlog. Is there
Yeah.
anything that gets you kind of like motivated or thinking about it? Like, do you have movies? Do you have music? Do you have anything that, like, if you're in kind of an artistic funk, that kind of brings you back, or is it just you just kind of have to go with the tides and just follow them?
I think I just go with the tides. A lot of times I would just like I have my kit because I all my figures put away because of my son. So all my figures in boxes put away. And a lot of times I would say, okay, I have a 2 hours, I could shoot some pictures now. I would just kind of open the box and just sit and stare and be like, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I would think about something that I want to do because
Mhm.
the shot that I had recently with Gerald and Bowser, I think. Yeah, Gerald and Bowser and Charizard. I kind of I had that. Yeah, this
This
one.
one.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was actually for the Toy Pick community. They had a little challenge, a little competition, and we had entered. Me and one of my friends had entered into the fire category. So because it was fire, I was like, okay, I want to take something fun, and I had this Gerald, and I was like, all right, what would make fire? So that this one was actually thought out from beforehand, and even the flames at the bottom there, those are just literally just a match that I just kind of held and probably burned some fingers, but you know,
Yep.
yeah. So it was a
Worth
quick
it.
shot, but it was something that I'd thought out before and just kind of played around, trial and error.
So
Mhm.
good. This is a great image. I love this image. It's
Thanks.
everything about this is perfect. And I mean, I know, well, Steph knows already, and you've probably heard, I get a little bit overly analytical, but even like the placement of Bowser, you do not let hair spikes, whatever they are, you don't let them leave the frame. They're just at the edge of the frame, so there's no like dead space above that.
Hmm.
He doesn't intersect at all. Like the characters don't cross over each other too much that it becomes like
Distracting.
yeah,
Mhm.
distracting. You don't have converging lines. Like everything is just oh, it's so good. I
A,
love
lo-
this photo. I do. I
a,
really.
a lot of it is just kind of what's the word? Trial and error.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'd have it and I'd look at the shot and be like, nah, this not right. But funny enough, I actually did the same shot about 3 or 4 different orientations. And this was actually one of the first ones I had done. So I could have probably stopped after 15 minutes of shooting this one.
You know,
It's
that's funny that you say that because I'll take like 100 of the same setup, and it's
mhm.
always like the first or second photo that I end up going with, and it's
Mhm.
like, why do I put myself through all this to just do this? I should just look at my reel one more time.
That's exactly the Ahsoka photo that I took for this
Mhm.
for these photos. I mean, I think it was no joke. I think it was the third photo, the third like camera click, and there was
Yeah.
like 94 more of them, and I was the third one that I shot, and I went, wow, okay, that was a waste of 90 shots. Like, what was I
I
doing?
I don't think we don't use film.
Yeah, I
If we use
know.
film, I think we'd think a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're kind of like on the like of collecting and stuff. Like you don't have any of your figures on display then because your son is definitely one that wants to play with everything.
Definitely.
I'm kind of in the same spot. I don't have my things out. Mine all live in drawers and Tupperware containers, and
Yeah, I used to have like this nice big shelf and I had all my figures there and the problem was that they collect a lot of dust and then every time you have to clean them. And then what happened is a lot of them just kept toppling over and
No.
losing arms. And with my son, I wasn't taking any chance of him,
yeah,
swallowing
Yeah.
anything.
yeah.
Also, if he sees my figures, oh, I want that.
Yeah. I had that same experience at like a Christmas time one time, and like I got the Mondo Batman from the Batman animated series, so it's like a 6 scale one. And my son is like, "Oh, is that a Batman for me for Christmas?" I'm like, "No, this is a Batman for mommy for Christmas." I was like, "You cannot have this." So it was like, then you feel bad, but I can understand that. But how do you like? You said you buy characters that you kind of like know and everything. Do you like look for certain ones? Are there like pre-orders on your mind? I'm kind of wondering how you even like think to like buy something.
A lot of the times it might be what's available. So
Mm-hmm.
I might, somebody sells in Trinidad. If I check and I see, well, what they have, and I'll say, okay, yeah, I'll take that. The Nendroids actually really like those. So those I
Mm-hmm.
actually had ordered online specifically. The Bowser is actually my husband's. So he likes Mario. Does
Mm-hmm.
Mario and Transformers. So anything with that, those are actually his toys. So it's kind of benefit me. I'll be like, oh babe, I bought you something for yourself, and
And you got it in the corner. You're taking photos of it.
and I'll be like, babe, I just borrowed this for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I really and truly, I really just walk. Sometimes I walk into a store and I say, well, okay, this looking cool. I want it. Or sometimes I'd pre-order stuff, but not too often. I would kind of wait and see what's. And also, if I see a figure and I say, well, oh, I could use this for a shot, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably try to pre-order it or buy it. So
Yeah. How many Nendroids do you own? This is just me being curious because I'm like,
not much, but I want more. So I have Naruto, Gara, because I really love Naruto.
mm-hmm.
Naruto, Gara, a Flash, and The Witcher. The Witcher I just kind
Oh.
of happened to pick up from a store, but I thought he was just hilarious to look at. So
He's pretty funny. He comes with a lot of little bits and stuff too.
yeah.
I
So
use
just really four.
that's perfect. I was just wondering because like
That's what I have.
Nendroids are like yeah. Scott's just starting though.
I just started. It's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, I think it's gonna get ugly too, but I'm trying to, hold back. I kind of banned myself recently from buying more figures.
Mm-hmm. I was like, there's a
Yeah,
lot of Naruto ones too, so you're gonna be
yeah. If I start down the Naruto line, that's it later.
So usually I don't have this many in here, but I had to throw this photo in here because this is yeah, look at this guy, he's all excited.
So good.
Like the bullet shells alone in this are like phenomenal. And so I want to know this process of how this all happened because this is
Mhm.
a lot of stuff, like awesome stuff going on.
So I wish I could show you the original. The original, literally, just I had actually taken this on call with me to work. So I was like, okay, let me see if I can take a interesting shot. But ended up just taking a plain background, boring as hell shot. And, so then when I sat down, I was like, all right, but it's a cool figure and it's a cool pose. So maybe I could use it. So essentially I just brought it into Photoshop and then just started adding elements essentially. So the lighting is actually all not that's real lighting. So I actually had like a pink gel actually shining up at him. So if you notice, like the hair have some pink on it. But then everything else essentially is photoshopped in. The
That's
bullets
amazing.
yeah, I like to play with Photoshop. I used to do cosplay photography too, so a lot
Oh.
of it, we have a growing cosplay community in Trinidad. So I started off doing cosplay shoots. So I started doing a lot of editing through that, like heavy editing, just changing the background and everything. So yeah, essentially I just kind of all the bokeh and the flames in the background is all just like what's that? Like just a file, just a layer, just put over. And the bullets, well, that I individually got a bullet and then one picture of a bullet and then just kind
So
of
good.
shifted it and made it, lose add some blur, motion blur, things like that to kind of get realistic. But I was really happy with the bullets. It was hard to figure out like how to put not too much but too little. So it was kind of like, okay, we need medium ground essentially,
Yeah.
So
Well, the placement was fantastic. Like you feel like you're in it. I love that. I thought that was so cool. Is this the Diamond Select?
No, this is this is actually the Mafex.
This is the Mafex one. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the one I really love. I didn't look super closely at it yet, but it's, oh man, it looks so good.
Yeah, I
So
got
good.
I got 3 Mayfix figures for Christmas from my husband,
Nice.
and he was not happy with the price, but yeah, I still
Oh,
got them.
you
He
know,
just
I heard the Mayfexes are worth it, and this shot is worth it because this like is awesome. I
I've
love.
never had a Mayfix figure in my hands, but since seeing the John Wick Mayfix and the Miles Morales Mayfix figure that's now floating around all over the place, I'm like,
yeah.
they
I,
are
I have
really
I have the
cool.
Spider-Man, the John Wick, and the Batman, the Hush, the blue
Okay.
one, not the
Ooh.
black one. Yeah, the
Yep.
Batman is epic, but I think my problem with the Mayfix is that they're so nice and they're so good. Like I feel
Mhm.
the need to shoot them in an epic way, so
Yeah.
I kind of have them put away. And even the Batman, I was telling a friend, I think I need a diorama. I need something big for him. Like I need
Mhm.
something good, you know. I can't just take a quick shot of Batman on my kitchen table and call that George, you know. So
Yeah. No,
they're
it's
intimidating. They're very nice, but they're very intimidating.
yeah, you want to do
Oh.
them justice. I get that. I
Yeah.
think I've said this though, kind of the way I feel about getting a hot toy at some point is I would like to get a hot toy, but I always think to myself, like, how am I even going to photograph it? I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't even know how to approach that. Like, I barely knew what to do with the Nendo when I first got the Nendo, courtesy of Steph. I'm like, all right, what do I do with this? I don't. It's so perfect. I don't know how to make it look better than it already looks. So it's there. I get that feeling. I get that kind of like that overwhelming feeling when a figure is so freaking cool. So
Yeah. I think with the hot toys, like I don't know if I'll ever really buy a hot toy simply because I actually borrowed some I think is the how big was those? About a 10-inch figure, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
And like I never actually shot something bigger than a 6-inch or 7-inch figure. And I don't think, well, I personally never thought about the fact that when you shoot a bigger figure, it something about it just so much more intimidating.
Mhm.
And just shooting something out of scale from what you used to. I accustomed to Legos and 6-inch
Mhm.
figures. And just shooting something out of scale, like a 10-inch figure,
Yeah.
was so difficult. It was, I don't know why. I'm not sure why it was so difficult for me, but just getting my brain to picture something larger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
was even thrown off by the head size of a Nendo. Like that threw me off. So forget it. You put a 12-inch, 10-inch figure in front of me, and I'm gonna just be like I won't know what to do with that.
yeah,
Terrifying.
you don't think about the different scale figures, how difficult it could be to shoot them until you actually have one, and it's like, oh, you have a lot more detail than I'm used to. Okay, all right,
Hmm.
okay, but yeah,
Yeah, I have hot toys, so it's like one of those like spirals I went down, which I shouldn't have because as you know, with most toys, you like get them and then you need like all of them. But I remember taking out, I had the Iron Spider from Infinity War, and I took him out to take photos, and I'm like, where am I gonna put him that makes him look like he's
hmm
somewhere that he should be? And then I realized I'm out in like a rural area. There's trees. Spider-Man doesn't live in the forest, so I had to like figure something out. But I remember it's scaling wise, it does test your brain on like how you're gonna frame something.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
did find that if you find like random places in your house actually look kind of cool with the larger figures because you can use your furniture and it still looks like okay. So if you scale it a little bit, but I do know that when they fall out of trees, I'm gonna tell you this from personal experience, it's the scariest feeling because they cost so much more. You're like, what am I doing out here right now?
yeah. I'm not sure if I'd have the bravery to shoot a hot toys like outside and not in a
Yeah.
glass jar.
Now we they had this the Tusken Raiders from Star Wars. They're coming out with the 6 scale versions from The Mandalorian, and
hmm
they were complaining that they weren't clean. They were too clean for like how to look because they're sand people. And I was laughing really hard. I'm like, they're not going to be clean once I get done with them. I was like, you
Yeah.
can just ship them to me. I'll shoot them out wherever you want and rock
And then
them
I'll
off.
send them back, and we
Send them
can
back
we
to
can
you.
and you can
They'll
sell
be
them.
naturally distressed. So there you go.
It'll all be unique.
That being a question, you have the figures and kind of have you ever tried any kind of like distressing on them or anything? Like tried any kind of modifications?
Not yet, but I
Mhm.
have friends who do it.
Mhm.
It's something I actually thought about trying, but I'm not sure if I'm artistic enough to do that. And I have a fear that I'll mess it up, and so haven't and truthfully tried any, but
Mhm.
one day I might, I really want to try it, but not yet.
I was like, it's always something I've been like looking at too, and I'm the same way. I'm like, do I want to like make this look awful and then feel bad that I spent this money and then try to do it and I didn't get it quite right?
You just stick it in a drawer and never look at it again.
Pretend my kid drew on it and then just like move away.
He ruined it.
Yeah. So it's just pretty funny. I just wanted to know because like you've got a lot of like this like the cool action figures that you could throw blood on and like dirty up and stuff, and I'd love to see it.
One day, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. So this is the photo you chose for the black and white, kind of like to showcase your style. And I was super excited about this because it's like the way that you can actually like focus really close up. I wanted to ask you what you kind of shoot with because I have a 50 millimeter only. I'm going to get something that I can get closer, but it's like there's got to be something there that you're getting that close to a Lego face and it being that clear.
Yeah, I have the Canon, the 100 millimeter, the 1.8. So that was actually a macro lens. So yeah, that's what I use. A lot of my toy photography, I would say about 99%, I would use the macro lens, that 100 millimeter. I actually bought that specifically for toy photography. So yeah, that's what I'd use. So it actually you could go pretty extremely close to the figure and be able to shoot it that close. I just love this Lego figure. Actually, is one of my favorites because he's so sad.
Yes, there's something really sad. Like you're not used to seeing a Lego so sad. They're usually so happy or excited.
He just has to be shot in black and white. So that's what I'm saying. Like like a shot like him, like it's like okay, he has to be in black and white. Just has to.
I love the way you use kind of like the foreground, like the looking through, the kind of like the Hitchcock feel, to give some sort of like sense of depth. I used to do that a lot, even with portrait photography, and everybody always was kind of weirded out by it, but it was something I really loved doing. Like if I shot like a musician or an artist or something, sometimes I would try to almost look like I was being kind of voyeuristic and viewing them. And I think that's what's kind of cool about this. And you've done it in a few things. You're really good at placing something in the foreground. And I think people forget to do that sometimes. It adds a sense of realness to toys that I think you can't always get if you're just shooting the toy without anything in the foreground. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things like in even like regular photography that I'd kind of learned that it is always more interesting to have negative, having all that space and whatnot is great, especially for a shot like this, but having something in the foreground, even if it's something small, is always kind of add to the depth. And a lot of toy photographers like do that, having all the little tidbits and all the pieces, even if you can't see what it is, you can still see something blurred in the foreground, and is kind of draw your eyes in and make things more interesting. So,
and that's what's cool. You don't really need to know what it is. I think that's what's so fun about it is you can like I've even put my hand in front of the lens just like at an angle like that just to give like a shadow to kind of distort a little. Like there's nothing wrong with just grabbing a piece of, like we said before, a piece of garbage, a piece of cardboard, and just sticking it away because it does create a little bit more realism.
Definitely. This shot, I think I was kind of inspired. There's a photographer that I follow. Is a wedding photographer, Sam Hood. I'm not sure if you all ever heard of him. HURD, and he does like really artistic shots. So it's one of the things I kind of wanted to try to do more portrait photography with my figures, So this one I think was just a little mirror that I just kind of held and just to try to get at. It's a little tricky with the 100 millimeter lens because you have this big lens in one hand, and
Yeah. Oh God, it looks so good though. I love it.
It's awesome. This one, I was just trying to get your bouquet in the right place for everything going on, and then trying to get your contrast. I need to start and I was trying to shoot straight on. I have a really hard time not tilting the camera frame. And so I realized this on this challenges. I'm like, Steph, you got to get out over this, that you have to shoot, because you're really great about focusing and making sure the subject's on straight on the camera angle too. Where usually I'm like, I want to showcase everything. So that was my
favorite thing about doing this challenge was this was the first person we've done this with who actually tends to shoot straight on. So I was like, yes, I don't have to overthink this part because I've struggled with that. I've struggled with the opposite in the past. So I'm like, I don't know how to turn. It's so weird.
a lot of times I would turn and I would have the shot and I'll be like, I don't know, it need to be straight.
And just the way I've noticed that it's like one of the biggest things because like I will gravitate sometimes towards the straight on because I can't, my mind doesn't work in that way, and I think it's so awesome that there's something different to look at. But like even doing this is on a windowsill. This should be straight. I put him on there straight so that I could actually sit there and do it. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to tilt this. My brain's not working quite right, and my dog is driving me insane.
I also love that you got the highlights in the eyes, which is something I've noticed that you do all the time with the anything with like larger eyes, Funko Pops and like Nendos. You're so good at catching that in the just that little bit of real reflection, almost like it's a portrait. Because there is such an emphasis on some of your toys. They are, some of them, not like the Legends and stuff are normal, but like some of them have those big eyes, and I think it's important if you're going to shoot something with big eyes that you kind of capture that little that catch light in there. So I think
I tend to try to focus on the eyes. That'll be my goal when I'm taking a shot, like most of the times, you know, try to focus on the eyes and everything else look fine. Because to me, if the eyes, well, me personally, if the eyes out of focus, it just don't feel the same way, you know. So especially if it's a close up, once it's a close up, there's very little forgiveness if you don't center on the eyes. I have taken a lot of shots and then realized, oh crap, it's just nothing working at all to focus, you know. So
it's funny with the eyes. It's like the one thing that you can miss focus in so many ways when you're doing either like street photography or scenics or like urban landscapes. You can miss focus and like you can kind of play it off as it's just that's the way I wanted it. But you miss the eyes on a portrait. And there's no real, you can't salvage it. It's weird. It's the one time I feel like you cannot play it off as like, you know, it's just, that was an artistic thing I was doing. Like you just, there's no way around it. It's, you miss that and it's like, nope, well, delete. Like it's
there you go.
Crazy.
I have done huge, like, you know, setups with fireworks and whatnot and, you know, set up a camera and then click. And then afterwards when I put it on my computer, it's like, crap, completely out of focus.
Or like you'll look on the little camera and like it looks great small, and then you get home or you get back to the and you pull it up and you already had taken everything down and put it away, and then you're like, that wasn't right.
Yeah. That happens too much. It's so sad. So sad.
I have to ask both of you, did you see that narrative about the golfing on
Oh my gosh.
I was so amazed.
Matthew wrote. Oh my gosh. Matthew went on this.
I missed that one.
You have to, when you get a chance, Matthew commented on this photo about I think it's Morris Wyatt. I forget what his handle is. But he gives this whole like dialogue about what this photo means to him. He's obviously just being like humorous and being
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Beautiful. It's just like, what is he talking about? He goes on this whole explanation. It's like a paragraph on under my feed now that just like takes up this whole area of him just what this photo meant. I'm like, oh, you're crazy. But yeah, this was
comments.
This was fun. This was so like I really wanted to make sure. One of the things I've noticed you do, especially with 6-inch figures, is a lot of the photos I like that you come in a little tighter, like you shoot above the knee quite a bit. So I wanted to cut out the legs. I wanted to focus more on like the torso and head. Tried to go with that profile look from the John Wick photo, to be honest. That's really what I was thinking about here. And then I was really thinking about your bokeh from the your Ninja Turtle images a lot. That's what I was really digging on. And I was trying to kind of incorporate sort of the miscellaneous spots in the background. And it was it was fun. This was interesting because I also did like the little Baby Yoda child photos.
Those were nice.
And but I feel like this was a little more like I had to kind of go a little more outside the box. Like I really took a lot of elements for those. This one, it was like little nitpicky things. Like I even tried to do in some of your photos, you have like the brickwork in the back, like the stone kind of diorama look with the like parallel lines and stuff. So I tried to incorporate some sort of like intersecting perpendicular lines in the back and whatnot. So it was
literally
fun. Exactly. I was like, well, I don't have bricks, but you know, I'm gonna try to make something in the back that looks like that. So
I have like very few dioramas. This is one that came with this came with the Deadpool. Like Yeah. But it's just so cool because it's brick, so you could just kind of trade behind
Go with
anything.
anything.
Yeah. But the Ninja Turtle shot you're talking about, I'd actually taken that in the middle of my street, where I live. And just like, thankfully is a gated community, so not a lot of traffic, I set up and basically sit on the ground in the middle of the road and take that shot. So that's a lot of the bokeh that you see in those shots is just the street lights. And
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, because you said you shoot at night, so you're out in the middle of the night taking pictures of toys in the middle of your street is just like amazing to me.
My neighbors, my husband says the neighbors probably think I'm crazy, but I usually explain myself. I'll be like, no, I'm just taking pictures.
Don't worry, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Why is she on the ground? What happened?
It's okay. You see random fireworks, and I was like, no, I don't.
Oh yeah, especially with the fireworks. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even think about that.
I try hard not to get noisy fireworks because I have dogs, so like I would tend to get like the ones that would just fizz up. Yeah. But even the neighbor kids would look outside and say, what is Auntie Reisha doing?
Yeah. Do you have what are your this is super weird, like off out of nowhere, but there's a reason I'm asking this. What are your like firework laws and stuff? Do you have any restrictions on certain fireworks? I know Steph is super restricted in California. I didn't know, like, what are yours?
That's because people do dumb things in California. We should have this restricted laws.
So people do dumb things in Trinidad. But, I think if you look up Trinidad, we probably are the land of not great ideas sometimes. But with respect to laws, there are laws that you're not allowed to use fireworks within 100 meters of a town, so to say. But they have no, like, they would sell fireworks to everyone and anybody. You don't need a license. You don't need to prove anything. Yeah. You can just buy fireworks, literally.
That's what Pennsylvania is. That's kind of why I was curious, because it's like I am blown away by this stuff, but because Pennsylvania is so lenient with their firework laws, I live right on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Right. You can come into New Jersey and buy them in Pennsylvania with a New Jersey license, but you're not technically supposed to bring them back to New Jersey. You're supposed to, but people do it anyway. So they have 3 right by my house, and I've gone in there to buy these, like, like you said, these little tiny like toy type fireworks to do things with. And some of the things, there's like missiles in there. I'm like, who's buying these and setting them off? Like, it's crazy.
Was it? I keep saying Old Year's Day because that's what we call it, but New Year's Eve. Yeah. The amount of fireworks that you would see is ridiculous. It's like a fireworks show, and people not supposed to release them. I get irate because it have a lot of dogs and kids and whatnot. Exactly, right. So but we have laws, but they're not well enforced, I would say. So I try to not have the big fireworks. I would just actually tend to use sparklers and a lot because it don't make noise. So one day I bought a little one. And I thought, okay, yes, we'll just fizz up, no noise. And, it made so much noise. I showed the neighbors look outside and I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too, is a little firework goes such a long way because of the scale. Like, if you bought some of these fireworks, your toy would be evaporated. It would melt it. Like even if you had it 20 feet away, I swear it would just swallow the toy and it would be gone. Even with these little smoke bombs, I melted like my my little Thanos arm. Like, he's got like this permanent like scorch mark on his shoulder just because like he was just a little bit too close. I'm like, what would you do with some of these gigantic ones? But
recently I started letting my husband help me with the fireworks. So because I realized it's not feasible with the sparklers to light it and then run back and snap the picture. So he would light it, and so that way he on toy lookout to make sure nothing sets on fire.
Yeah, protect them, keep them safe.
Oh, seeing that he buys them, I think he might have to.
He's like, you gotta keep them safe for a little while longer. Yeah,
just a little bit.
So you have the Lego, like the minifigs. Do you have Lego sets too, or do you really just like the minifigs?
I have mostly minifigs. I
Okay.
bought one or two sets, nothing big. I bought one really big set with like a huge building that I was supposed to build that I haven't gotten to as yet. Um,
It happens.
but I don't have too many sets because my problem is really just to display it. By the time I build it up, what to do with it. But I have a huge collection of the minifigs. So I really like them. Not, I need to get some more,
Yeah.
always. But, yeah, I mostly collect the minifigs, I would say. And now I'm trying to get one or two little additional pieces, like a little fireplace, little things that I could use to build my own diorama, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
It's neat that they haven't started that yet, where they have like the blind bags with like little pieces like that. Like you could have like a car, like something like little stuff like that. Like the fireplace is a good example. Shopping carts,
Yeah.
kind of thing like that. So it'd be neat that'd be a good idea to like submit to Lego and be like, hey, for us that don't want to buy the 1,000-piece sets, can you
Yeah.
like get something?
We just need little things.
Yeah, yeah. I find that even for like regular like Nendroids, like I have to buy an entire Nendroid for a shovel or something that's to scale, and then I'll get rid of the rest of the figure but keep the pieces.
That's why you need a 3D printer.
Ah.
Oh,
That's what you need. The time has come. The time has
oh
come.
gosh.
3D printing.
I'm afraid of sparklers. Can you imagine me with a 3D printer?
Oh,
I'd be
you'd
like,
be great.
I'd have like a hazmat suit on in another room trying to turn it on.
Behind plexiglass, like
Yeah, I'm
pushing
like, what
buttons.
am I doing in here? Yeah. Poor Devin would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, you need to go in there and turn this button on, and then I'm going to stand over here, and then I'm going to watch it from monitor in the other room. It'll be okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. This is one of the things that I always like to ask, and like, because you have a profession going on, like outside. I work in a bank, you work at a hospital, and all that kind of stuff. What do you see you doing with your account and your hobby? Are you just going to keep going, having fun, or is there like some kind of like creative outlet you can make prints? What are you going to do with?
Truth be told, in Trinidad, I don't think it have much scope for prints. Like, toy photography kind of now starting off. I am one of the handful, I would say, of toy photographers here. And probably, I would say I'm probably one of the more popular ones, so to speak. Not that toy photographers popular, but you know what I mean, within the community,
Yeah.
but I probably not prints, but I think for me this like toy photography is just kind of creative outlet. Um, so I don't know, as long as it stays fun and something to do, I'll probably try to keep it going. Probably not invest as much time as time goes on it, but I'm hoping that when my son gets bigger, we could work together on projects and I can make it into something fun for him, because I always liked toys growing up, and like I always liked making scenes and pretending with my toys. And I mean, this is kind of a way to make up your own story, so that's kind of why I'd gravitated towards toy photography. But I'm hoping to keep him creative. I have a lot of Instagram accounts. Some of my friends joke that I have too many. But I have one where I basically review kids' books and toy photography, and I started one with some medical comics and whatnot. And I think I just try to keep my brain active, so to speak, and to try to get out of the world of medicine, because it's frustrating. It's a frustrating thing to do sometimes, So it's nice to come home and just clear your head and do something completely different from what I was doing all day,
I think that's what a lot of people use toy photography for, especially those who are not trying to make like a career or anything out of it. Like it tends to be very meditative, and it's a way for you to kind of decompress from the other things that you're thinking about in your normal real like workday life. And so there's something I think there's something important there, and I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling of, it's like you come home, you decompress, or you've got like your weekend, you take like your Sunday and you go and just do what you need to do. And you can't, it's hard when you're like planning a shoot and trying to get the figure to stand up the way you want and stuff like that. It's hard to really think about much else. You really can't do it. I've found myself like, especially when I'm shooting figures that don't want to balance, like that's all I'm thinking about. I'm just like, just please stand up right now, please. And I can't think about work. I can't think about anything that's really...
It's a good and a bad thing, and I try to use it for something to clear my mind. So I think my aim for it is just to stay fun, and hopefully I could continue. And what I like about it is that actually getting to meet people from all over the world, like with toy photography, So, and it's something that is kind of connect people in a way that nothing else pretty much could. And we're not competing with each other. It's literally
No.
just people who like everyone else's work, and everybody's so unique, in their styles and what they like, the toys they collect. Nothing. No
Yes.
two toy photographers would ever be the same, even if you're capturing the same figure, which is
Mhm.
something I find very fun, about it. So,
Yeah. Here's a question for you. So it's a little bit of like a classic kind of question, but like, what is the figure right now that you just keep getting more and more ideas on what you want to do with them? One that you already own, but you want to shoot all these like more and more and more images of. Like one that's just sitting there that you keep looking at, going, I got to photograph that one a lot.
as cliche as it is probably between my Deadpool, the one
Yeah.
with the one in the boxers,
So good.
or a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh.
a stormtrooper is just so
You can do so much with it. I
they're
know.
versatile. I tend to not like to shoot stormtroopers and the serious kind of, okay, we're gonna do. I kind of tend to like to shoot them like, in a kind of goofy, kind of funny way.
Holding a
So
guitar or a skateboard or something like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
which I love.
yeah. So I mean, for some reason, that's like my go-to figures. And usually, if I completely cannot get any kind of inspiration, I'll go digging for Legos. So I'll see, okay, what Legos I have, and just kind of mix and match pieces and try to make something creative and try to make something funny. Because
Yeah.
a lot of my toy photos tend to not be serious, and they tend to have like whether it be an inside joke or not, it tends to have some sort of humor to it.
Yeah.
So
Do you take toys with you when you travel? Like if you go on a trip, do you grab a couple with you? Yeah.
definitely,
Okay, good.
definitely.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely. You
I'm
have
actually, yeah, next weekend I'm actually going to Tobago. That's the island with it's Trinidad and Tobago. So it's one country but two islands.
to. Okay.
We're going to Tobago and gonna have a lot of beaches. So hoping I'll be able to take some shots, but with my son, I'm not sure if I'll be able to. But really, just crossing fingers. I'm gonna walk with
Yeah.
some figures. It's just to figure out which ones, because I tend to want to carry as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yes. I always pack way too much. Then you just need to bring snacks, and that's what my son always says. Oh, you're gonna go take photos. I'll come with you. I get to eat popcorn and have a juice box and sit and watch you, and that's like his highlight. And it usually lasts pretty good time. So
I have a 2.5-year-old, so no, it doesn't.
It
He
doesn't.
he was
Yeah.
all I would. He sometimes he's very polite. He'll say, "Mommy, can I have it?"
No.
No.
No, you can't.
It's like, I know you said please, but no. But I would give him like my Batman. I had a Batman.
Yes.
The less articulated ones. I'd be like, look, mommy gave you Batman.
Mhm.
So
That's what he has a bunch of like. My son has the non-articulated Star Wars figures. They're like by Fisher Price or something. So he'll just play with those and whack them into each other and stuff.
my son
That works.
obsessed with the Hot Wheels cars. So right now he
Mine
has like.
too.
Eventually, I'm gonna start
Oh.
taking some more Hot Wheels photos. I have taken
Mhm.
some, but he has a huge collection of Hot Wheels that he is obsessed with. Any kind of car, cement truck, fire
Yes.
engine.
Kinds of
He just he not the only. I think the only character he into is Batman, but that's just because I kind of brainwash him into Batman.
Mhm.
So
No, it happens.
yeah.
I honestly like I'll joke around like if we're gonna go like watch a movie or something. I'll be like, "Hey, you want to watch Star Wars?" And he's just like, "No, cars." Or he'll say like, "Cars instead." Cars instead. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
yeah.
cars instead." So like I can try to brainwash him, but it's funny. He loves Hot Wheels cars, and it's
Same.
not. I'm not a big Hot Wheels collector. I'm not a big car guy. Like I don't know much about. Like I know what cars are. I know how they work, but like he's so into them, and he'll point at them. He'll be
Same.
like
Same.
orange car, red car, green car. Like it's so interesting how that
My
just
son
happens.
into like all the heavy machinery. So yesterday he saw a skid steer, which now I know the name of.
Yeah, I was gonna
thanks to him.
say.
So I said, "Hey, look at tractor," and he said, "No, mama, a skid steer." And I was like, "Sorry, I apologize. I apologize. No problem."
I called something a bulldozer and it was an excavator. So I was like, sorry.
How
Did not
dare-
know there was a
How
big
dare
difference.
you?
How dare you is right. It's so interesting how they just start like learning their own thing and they correct you. I'm like, I don't know how he's gaining all of this information.
YouTube. He would literally just watch.
Yes.
He would watch an episode of Blippi. That's his
Yeah.
fave.
Oh, okay.
And like, he was telling me the parts, and he was like, "This is a wheel, and this is the grill, and this is the." I said, "Okay, all right, cool, great,
Yeah.
He knows it all. He
good
knows
for
it
you."
all.
Yeah.
So funny.
Give me 1 minute. She is like running around in
It's
circles.
circles. Oh, this by all means. Send her. Do what you need with her. Oh, look.
Outside, I think. She's like,
It's getting wild. No, it's cute though. It's actually fun because I had never seen the Cars movies, Pixar, the Cars films.
Yeah.
And we tried it because he had gotten really into Hot Wheels cars, and I really love them now. I enjoy watching them with him, and it's a movie I probably wouldn't have watched otherwise, but now I've seen all three.
I think my son, I think Rye is too young to watch those yet. So now he just only but I think eventually we will, because he he likes the merchandise, he likes the cars. When he sees them, he gets very excited, But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Once he having fun, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I think we
Are we
made
good?
it. Yeah.
I think we did it in an hour. I was like, I looked at the top. I'm like, we're in good shape.
Okay.
Where do you want to quickly like shout out your Twitter, your other Instagram pages? Like, where do you exist out in the world?
Well, I think because my page is so diverse, I don't feel like anybody else would really be, because it's like the Instagram page is like reading with Rai, so it's like my kid, my son's name is Rai, as in Raichu.
Very cool.
I kind of snuck that in. My mom didn't realize, and initially my mom thought it was an Indian name, and she was like, "Oh, Rai, that's a really cute name." And then after she Googled it, she came back and she was like, "That is Japanese for lightning." And I was like, yeah. And she's like, right. And then my husband was like, "Wait, as in Redon and Raichu?" And I was like, yeah. But the name had already stuck, so I won that battle, and everybody liked it.
So good.
Yeah, no, I cool here. I think just, with my photography page, I don't feel anybody else would really be too into the other pages,
I feel that. I understand. Good. Well, we've had your names scrolling along the bottom throughout this thing. So
I sees it.
You exist down there. But yeah, it's really, really, really been a pleasure. So getting to hear your perspective and stuff.
This was fun. I hope people could understand my accent. I had to
oh God,
I had to slow down a lot from how we usually talk and try to figure out, like, make sure not to say the wrong words, because we have a couple of things that we'd say, like, instead of, for instance, like with New Year's Eve, we call it Old Year's Day, as an Old Year's Day. So
yeah, no, I can't think of there wasn't a single time in this entire conversation where I was like, what is she saying? And like, no, you.
I think. Well, I'm glad to hear that. As the Trini accent, I try to tone it down a little bit when I'm speaking to people, not to talk English.
I talk English, and sometimes I can't understand myself either. So
people can't understand me sometimes. Well, I don't even know what I'm saying most of the time.
I have to slow down regardless. But it was perfect. I was like, I always feel like we have such a diverse community as toy photographers that I want to get more people on here. And I wish there was a way with people that English is not their first language would be able to be on here and talk and chat, and we could like figure that out. So one of my goals is to be able to have 2 different languages going and then figure out how we're going to interact.
Make it work.
Yeah.
It is important though to find people from other places too. Steph and I had talked about this a little offline last time. And I don't want to just always be talking to the same people from New York, Colorado, New Jersey. Like I want to talk to people from like all over the place, because like we've said, there's people all over the world who do this, and I don't think people even realize it. Like the vastness of this hobby. Like we cross borders, we cross continents and oceans, and I think it's just, it could be so fun if we focused a little more like Steph and I specifically trying to focus a little more on trying to snag some people from all over the place. Like even just getting to talk to Alan last week, like that was fun, and he's from the Netherlands now.
Yeah,
and
he
that
was
just,
he was like 14 hours off of us. We didn't know time was there at all.
Where it's the morning for us, he's talking at like midnight on his
drinking at 11 o'clock at night when we were talking to him. So it was like,
but yeah, it's interesting.
I have family in the Netherlands, so I know how it is. You know, my cousin would message me, and I would say, "Wait, what time is it?"
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
No, I was originally born in England, so it's like being moving around and knowing like my dad was in the Air Force, so I like traveled. Scott's been in like multitudes of states and like different things are going on.
Just
and like Miss Binkaboo is in Austria, not Australia, but Austria, and she was like one of the ones I was like, I need you to come on the show, and she was so concerned about accents and everything like that. And I'm like, you could just sit there and laugh at me while I talk, so it'll be great. I was like, we'll make this work.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really glad you said yes to this, because I was super excited to have you on regardless. And I was telling Scott, I was like, I could just fill this entire podcast up with amazing women toy photographers. That's what we're going to do, because Sisters of Plastic has introduced me to so many cool people.
Yeah, I added so many people. Like I try, as soon as I see somebody, I'll be like, oh, let me add them. Okay, let me follow them.
Yeah.
It's fun to see what other women, because a lot of people assume like toy collecting and then toy photography is just men. You know,
it's a lot such a dude. Like it's so flooded with dudes right now, and it's not, which is fine, but it's like there are a lot of people out there doing a lot of different things, and I bring it up every single time, and I'm trying not to bring it up anymore. But like my introduction to Barbie photography was just, my mind was blown, and I talk about it constantly, but it's like this is the kind of stuff. There's other things out there, and there are women shooting action figures, and there are men shooting American Girl dolls, and there are like, you know, there's people doing all kinds of really fun things, and you know, it's not just one type of human being out there doing this. So
it's nice. It's bond us all together, but yet show the differences. That's one cool thing about it, you know? So.
Agreed.
I'm going to hit in broadcast, but it's not going to go away.
Yeah, it doesn't kick us out. No. Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steph.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN. You'll see all the credits on the end, but I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.